Section 2. A feeling-meaning separation ? In support of this conception of a continuum from qualia to full meaningfulness, Rose cites the philosopher Lyons, 1995, who suggests that, quote, intentionality develops ontogenically through several levels or layers, first by the formation of associations between sensory experiences, and between these and the sensory consequences of actions. Later, other people become involved in the causal loop that link our own experiences, and so arise symbolic representations, beliefs, propositional attitudes, and public language, end quote. Rose also refers to Millikan's view, quote, that intentionality is a matter of degree. It depends upon the extent to which a signaling system interacts properly with other co-evolved systems, and to what extent their contents correlate with the real world states they are supposed to signify, end quote. Rose also appeals to neurological conditions to support the view of a progressive neural pathway from qualia to full meaningfulness. He refers to two distinct types of neurological loss of function, known respectively as apperceptive and associative agnosia. Quote, the apperceptive agnosias are those in which the patients have problems with perceptual analysis per se, such as in perceiving the relationships between the different parts of objects. They may have problems with copying, drawing, and integrating details into wholes, in the case of vision. The associative agnosias are cases in which people have problems more with understanding. They cannot tell the uses of an object, identifying what the object is, know what it is for. For example, knowing that a comb is used to comb your hair, a pen is for writing, and that a door is hard and will hurt yourself, and that you will hurt yourself if you walk into it. Thus, perceptual and conceptual processing are separable anatomically as well as functionally, end quote. The implication is that the neural damage in apperceptive agnosias is closer to the primary regions of the sensory cortex, while in associative agnosias, it's closer to the higher centers. Finally, Rose appeals to the findings of the Canadian neurosurgeon Wilder Penfield, who, starting in the 1950s, electrically stimulated the brains of his patients for experimental purposes. In considering the view that simple qualia are generated at the periphery of the nervous system and brain, while meaning arises from the higher centers, Rose claims that, quote, support can be taken from the data presented by Penfield, showing that electrical stimulation of primary sensory cortex evokes experiences of simple flashes of light, buzzing sounds, and so on, whereas stimulation of the cortex away from the primary regions can engender more complex experiences of a deeper and more meaningful nature, such as feelings of familiarity accompanying evoked memories, end quote. But if qualia and meaning always occur together, how are they related to each other? Gray speculates that this relationship may be as arbitrary in perception as it is in language. Quote, at the evolutionary level, the relationship between perceptual qualia and functions may possess at least some of the flexibility that holds in ordinary language between qualia brackets phonetics and meanings brackets semantics, end quote. What Gray is saying here is that the meanings of spoken and written words are simply assigned to them by the language community which uses them. We can be certain of this because different language communities use completely different words for the same things. Gray's analogy here implies that just as human vocal equipment is capable of producing a certain range of sounds to which human communities assign meanings, so nature is capable of producing a certain range of qualia to which evolution has assigned meanings. As Gray says, solving the hard problem might then consist in trying to discover the syntactical and semantic apparatus which evolution has put in place between nature's range of qualia and human meanings, so that just as a word goes into a human ear or eye and a particular meaning emerges in the attached human brain, in a similar way, evolution has arranged that particular qualia in the 5 sensory modalities goes into, say, a mammalian organism, and a particular meaning emerges for that organism. Gray links this way of seeing qualia with the quantum mechanical theory of consciousness developed by Penrose and Hamerhoff, as we shall see later. Gray uses different art forms to illustrate these ideas regarding the relationship between qualia and meaning. He says, quote, novels in prose depend strongly on meaning. Poetry, song, and representational painting are pretty well balanced between meaning and qualia, while abstract art and non-vocal music depend almost exclusively on qualia, end quote. I believe that what Gray is suggesting here is that some qualia have clear, direct, and functional meanings for humans, whereas other qualia don't. This is not to say that these other qualia have no meaning at all. Abstract art and non-vocal music are well known to produce very significant aesthetic feelings and strong emotional reactions in people. We wouldn't have non-meaningful art if we didn't have qualia. What Gray is trying to suggest by his observation on different art forms is that the assertion by functionalism of a simple, direct, and inevitable link between qualia and function is much too limited and narrow. Gray says, quote, the sheer existence of music without meaning, not to mention its powerful aesthetic effects, is further testimony to the independence of qualia from function, end quote.